Well, welcome back to another episode of the LV Parents Podcast. My name's Adam Witter. I am one of the hosts on this podcast, and today I'm actually joined by a new co-host. I want to let her introduce herself.
Hi there. My name is Audrey Goodwin, and I am so excited to be on staff at LVfirst, and so excited to be recording this podcast today with some very fun guests.
Yeah, we're gonna get to them in just a moment, but just to let people know, if you haven't listened to LV Parents Podcast before, we're all about connecting people through parenting and helping them find the tips and resources they need to be a better parent, because ultimately we want to empower you with the tools so that you can better your kids so they can be functional people in society and ultimately, just thriving people in the world. But like we said, we got some special guests here today. We got Carlos and Katherine Greene in the house.
Yay!
What's up, LVfirst? We are so honored to actually be here. Carlos and Katherine Greene of Power Couples Rock, and we live in the Lawrenceville area and absolutely love living in this space and the work that we actually do regarding marriages and families to just make sure that we're uplifting and we're making people better off than when they first met us. So,
Amen.
Yes, and we have been blessed to have two young men. They are adulting now. And
Hallelujah.
we've been blessed to have that. Yes, we made it.
Launched them.
Yes. They are contributing to society in the most positive way, and we are excited about that. And we also had two other children that we had guardianship over early on in our life, and that was really fun and a great family dynamics for us. They have since gone on and they are adulting. One of them unfortunately passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But there was some solid grounding and foundation that we had in our family. But Carlos and I have been married for over 34 years.
Congratulations.
yes, let's go.
Yes, and we just enjoy each other and our family in our community. One of our core values is to connect with each other and connect with our community, and we've instilled that in our children as well.
So good. So
Love
good.
that.
Yes.
Well, before we kind of get into the meat of why y'all are here today, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun, have a little levity here. We're all parents sitting around this table here. I'd be curious, what was the weirdest parenting advice you ever heard? Especially, there's a lot of stuff out there, but like what by far has been the weirdest thing that you've ever come across?
Oh, that is a fantastic question.
We were talking about this
We
yesterday.
were. As I roll back in my mind, I had to go back to Grandma, because Grandmama is the one that had all of these weird kinds of parenting advice. And one of the ones that really came to mind is, do not let your children sit close to the TV or they'll be cross-eyed.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. Yeah. Or like if you cross your eyes, they'll get stuck that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Heard that one a lot.
That explains a lot in my family right now. Okay.
Yeah, but back in the day, the TVs were on the floor. Floor model TVs, for those you know. I hate to tell my age, but it's coming out. But it was floor model TVs, or it was sitting like really low on a stand, on a television stand, and so the kids would sit really close so they could see. They didn't have these 54 inches and 64 inch TVs back in the day, but that was one of the weirdest things that she told me.
Yeah, that's really funny. What about you?
Well, growing up, I actually grew up with a lot of asthma. And so my grandmother told my mom that if she would cut a piece of my hair off, I am not lying.
Well, and for those of you, obviously you're not in the room with us, but Carlos is bald.
For the listener.
Exactly. If she would cut a piece of my hair off and stick it in the hole of a tree, that would actually heal my asthma.
And did she do it?
She did it.
And did it heal you?
Well, I don't have asthma anymore.
Okay.
I don't have asthma anymore.
There might be something there.
There may be something there, but that's those old grandmother tales, and you just go with it.
What about you all? Love to hear that.
I don't know. You probably. You have a young child. What is? I mean, that's been a little bit more fresh for you.
Yeah, I would say, and this is like maybe a little bit of a controversial take, but it's not necessarily the weirdest, but the thing that I like just couldn't connect with the most was the whole like cry it out theory of she's going to figure it out, especially really, really young babies. And I understand all the reasons that people do it. Like, you need to have your own sanity as a parent. But I personally was like, just couldn't. Like, I was like, my baby is crying. I have to go in there and get her. And she's doing great. She sleeps through the night. She's not like crying all the time, constantly. She's a great, happy little girl. And so I think that was just an interesting thing for me really early to like come into parenting and have to hear, like, this is a very common piece of advice. And it just isn't going to function for me. So how do I figure out how to do this well? Because this baby's got to sleep and I got to sleep.
Yes.
And so what are we going to do about this? So yeah.
I have 2 kids. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. And the way you parent your first child versus your second child are always vastly different. But I know with our first child, being new parents, a lot of things around diet was really, really important. So like we were the family, and this, not knocking anybody who is. I mean, I think it's important to have healthy whole foods, but I was pureeing beetroot and weird stuff like that. I'm like, things that like were not in my typical diet for my child, like butternut squash. I mean, if you love butternut squash, you do you. I do. My son, every time we gave it, he would have a reversal and spit it all up. And so like, it didn't work for him, but I just remember having like sugar for that matter. Like we were very intentional about not giving our daughter sugar. So like the first cake she had was like made with bananas and this and that and the other and all this.
Real crunchy granola.
Yeah. I mean, it was not very appetizing. And she kind of expressed her disgust for it. But the day we gave her sugar, I think she overcompensated because now she's a child who's addicted to sugar. So I don't know if it was bad parenting advice or it might just be or weird parenting advice, but it was just a different kind of stage, like for my kids. And our second child, he just gets what he wants. I mean, we gave up on that battle.
Judah's out here having sugar.
Oh yeah, he's
6 months old. Go for it, buddy.
Drinking soda out of his baby bottle, man. It was not that bad.
There is like a famous story of me being a baby and my mom comes to pick me up from famous in our family, like not in the world. That comes to pick me up and she's like, "What, Mom? What is in my child's bottle?" "It is sweet tea." When I was like less than a year old, and my mom was like, "What is happening?"
Bless their heart.
She's like, "She wanted it." So grandma is not to be trusted with what goes in the bottle for sure.
Wow.
For sure.
I know we could go all day talking about just the crazy ups and downs and stuff that we've heard as parents. But I want to make sure we get to like why y'all are here. So you told us about this whole idea of having a mission and vision in parenting. And now when I think of mission and vision, like that's typically like a business related thing, for your organization. But you have found that it's very applicable towards parenting. So I'd love for y'all just to kind of give us a little bit of an idea like what that is, like mission and vision in parenting.
I think for us, I know for us, with the vision and the mission that we actually have, it really provided some guidelines and some boundaries and our why for why we exist as a family. So if you look at any corporation, if we're talking about from a business perspective, let's talk about McDonald's. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A. Let's talk about Nordstrom's. All of them have a vision and mission in place because they're looking to how do they best show up and how do they best serve their customers. And so for us as a family, how do we show up? How do we best serve our community? And if we don't align our vision and mission internally, then we can be scattered because the word does say that where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint. We don't really know where we're going. We don't know how we're anchored. And so for us, it's been very important that we execute against our vision and mission for our family, not only for today, but for generations to come.
And the vision gives you a purpose and something to work toward. And I know in our family how we've used it and how it has guided us and really helped us focus and clarity. So this clarity attracts and having that. And what I love most about being able to share that with our kids. So people think just the vision is for the business, but bringing it into the family really helps you it's like your GPS.
Yeah,
It
that's
gives you
good.
that direction that you need as a family. And all families, no matter what, if the children are young or old, can participate in that. And I can share an example of our kids when we were very young and we introduced the vision and mission in our family. We started off with family meetings. And we didn't necessarily always lead the meetings, but we showed them how to lead the meetings.
Cool.
And so one of our vision, we did an acrostic with our last name. Now some names are longer, but it was easy for us. But it's Greene is our last name with an E on the end. We paid for that E.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget the E.
And so we had our kids learn greatness reaches each and every new expectation.
Ooh.
And we that was part of our vision, and then our mission and how we were going to do it, which is our why we did it through 6 core areas. And we taught them faith, family, finance, fitness, future, and fun. We call it the 6 F's. And they were very young in school, and so we started small. And I can go into a little bit more details, but that was just something of how we incorporated, not just for us. We had a long vision for our entire family, and we wanted to trickle
So
that
good.
down to our children.
Well, that's so. I mean, I love that. Like your comparison to kind of the corporate world with their mission and vision. Obviously, like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A have their way of like, hey, we're here to bring an experience to people through food. Exactly. That's kind of their common mission. But the vision, how they live that out, is unique to their identity. And I think that's so helpful for parents to hear, because it's so easy for you as a parent to want to model off of someone else's parenting. Like, oh, they seem to have it all together. So if I could do what they do, then the way I parent my kids are going to turn out all right. Or I'm not going to lose my mind as a parent. But also that interplay between even you and your spouse. You know, each of you come from your own different family dynamic with different ways of living it out. Some people had kind of more of a strict household. Some people had a little bit more of an open parenting. Some people grew up with a single parent. Some people grew up with mom and dad, or maybe they lived with grandparents. I mean, family dynamics are across the board. So the fact that you can take this idea of mission and vision and make it applicable to you as a parent and not have to worry about what everyone else is doing, but to make it purposeful for you and your family, I think that's just so powerful. So, I mean, y'all have been doing this work for quite some time. And I'm sure you've come across all different kinds of families, you know, like the ones I just mentioned, like, you know, obviously it's not just, you know, a husband and wife couple, sometimes a single parent, grandparents. I mean, there's all different kind of family dynamics out there. How have you seen this mission and vision live out in those different dynamics? Does it change or shift kind of the purpose behind this?
There's a couple of things that we look at. Starting very young, we were very intentional about creating community, not isolating ourselves. And so when you create community, you have a dynamic, you have so many different dynamics of families that come into your community. So we would actually establish regular rhythms, even on Sundays after church. Everybody come over to our house. You bring some chicken, you bring some rolls, you bring the sweet tea, no matter how old they are.
With grandma.
Exactly. But that's where we started to celebrate the differences in the families. And then the families also started feeling supported in their space, so that they didn't feel like that they were out there all by themselves. So when we would have conversations about how our family is navigating life at those ages, at that point, then it allowed other families to express how they were navigating. And so how could we affirm and confirm what they were doing, and how could we support them in that space? One of the things that we've always said, that no matter where we lived, we were always going to be in community. We were never going to isolate ourselves, no matter what our family dynamic looked like, and no matter what other people's family dynamics look like. So we've taken on, we probably have so many nieces and nephews and godparents, and we're godparents and all of that, because we feel like that community is stronger. And when you can build that village, then those kids start to raise their level of expectation of how they show up and how they navigate the world.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful.
You said that very well. I would just add that vision in the community. You had said something about, everybody has their own, you have your own vision, but there is a template you could use that could get you there. And you figure out which one works best for your family. But the dynamics of having community together, you can see that and you work together. And you can look at, we had a couple that had come through. We had a master class, and they were just dating. And one of the things, they had an individual vision, but they wanted to know what that vision looked like together.
Sure.
If they were going to be together. And they just started putting their individual visions and looking at it and seeing how it could align. And they came up with that vision they wanted to do together. And out of that came this jar of
I think it's called like a jar of blessings.
Yeah, jar of blessings. And they started to say, we take for granted like the time that we have together. We take for granted that maybe we're not really living our purpose. And so they've been making little notes about, I see it. It's lining up. And that has been just such a joy to hear how the jar, in fact, now we talk with them and they say, well, we need a bigger jar now because oftentimes we're not seeing that come to fruition. But you have to put it in front of you. There is a faith guides us, right?
Yeah.
For us, Carlos and I. And we do go to scripture, and there is something about writing the vision to make it plain. But if you just write it and not make it plain, he can't run with me, and my community can't run with me or hold me accountable. And so we write that, and we keep it in front of us, and we see it activated in our lives throughout. And that couple making those notations really just solidify why it's important to have that.
Yeah, it sounds like one thing that you're really highlighting is the importance of being intentional together, like as you're creating the vision and how are we going to live this out with our mission, and being intentional about the fact that you're doing it in the first place, and then making it intentional that we're not just going to create this thing, but we're going to put it where we're not going to be able to escape it. It's going to be like right in front of us so that it continues to be our guiding light, which I think can sometimes feel, I know we have like a whiteboard in our kitchen and we write things up there, and can sometimes feel like a little bit like, is this like elementary school? Like we have to like remind ourselves of things. But I find that when we have that literal thing on the wall right in front of us, then we're always like glancing at it, seeing it. Hazel, our daughter, is like wanting to know what that is, like wanting to participate in it. So even making it something that's actually visually in your home sounds like a very important piece of this too. That really helps you to have that guidepost, that when you're like, what decision are we making? Sitting at the kitchen table, you're like looking at the thing that you've decided. What is our vision? Does this align with our vision? I love that so much. Like being so intentional about the whole process, and then how do we carry it out too, right?
Yes.
And I love that your daughter's already showing curiosity in that, because thought I had was just, as you think about, as a parent or as a couple or, whatever that your dynamic may be, as you're shaping this mission and vision, how does that trickle down? How does that even, from the child standpoint, how does that come up from the bottom up to infer and influence the overall family mission and vision? So, I mean, you have grown kids, I have younger kids. We're starting to see this dynamic play out, especially with our 10-year-old. I mean, we're sitting down, like helping her sketch out a schedule. We're talking about bigger issues. I mean, she's moving into adolescence. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening, at this stage of life. But how have you seen the child's involvement in shaping this mission and vision?
A while back, I heard a quote, and I probably won't get it completely right, but the quote said, parent your children not as they currently are now, but parent them the way you see them as an adult. So that doesn't mean that you give them complete control over everything, but what are you putting in place now in the way of rhythms and patterns that help them to make appropriate decisions in their lives today? What does that look like? Yeah. So for us, having the family meetings was extremely important so they could see that rhythm, they could see that pattern, and then giving them empowerment to actually lead those family meetings, setting them down and going over on a monthly or a quarterly basis, where have they actually met their goals and how does it align with the vision and mission of what we do? And we started literally with our children, our youngest son was probably 5 or 6 when we started. with us. And now he's close to 30. So he's lived that on an annual basis every single month or quarter. And what's really exciting for us is that now they govern their lives by the vision that we have and the 6 core areas that we live into, which we still live into today: faith, family, finance, fitness, future, and fun. Here, I'll leave with this one quick thing. My oldest son, actually, when he dates, he looks at those 6 core areas with the person he's dating with and say, how's their faith?
So good.
What's the family dynamic? How do they steward their finances? And he can make pretty strong decisions whether or not he wants to continue on in that relationship or not.
Wow.
Because we've patterned and showed examples of what that could look like and the fruit it can bear when you can use that level of discernment.
That's so good. Well, and just the scalability of that. I mean, you started off with them young. You invite them in like a certain, for you and Hazel, that's like just showing her this wall, the board. I mean, that's the anchor for her. That's where it begins. But then you're having these really thought out conversations that are impacting their livelihood. I mean, the fact that they're using this tool as the filter for who they invite into their life or who they potentially spend the rest of their life with, that's amazing. That's so cool. Yes. And I think that's what we want. We want our kids to take ownership of their own lives. We can only parent them for so long until they take the reins for themselves.
Yes.
The point is launch, right?
Yes,
it is.
The point is
launch.
to launch and being healthy and great to like step into the world and feel that ownership, right? So the more we can set them up for that, the better, right? And this sounds like such an awesome like framework for building that security that they can step out and say, hey, I know what my vision is for my life. I know the things that are important to me because this is how I was raised. I can articulate that easily. I don't have to wonder and think about it because my parents did this work sort of ahead of time for me. And obviously they might go off and say, oh, I'm going to add this other little branch. Maybe we want a D added in there. Not all S. They can do that too. But having a framework out of which to start to develop that for themselves, man, it's so exciting.
I just want to encourage parents because you may think, oh, well, they need to be a certain 5, 6 year young child. 2?
She'll be 2 at the end of the month. Yeah.
But that visual that she sees, so you find those places to meet them where they are. We had those 6 core areas. We repeated our vision every time we had a family meeting. And the 6 core areas, practically, I'll show you how it happened with the youngest son. He lined up those 6 core areas, and then he said, oh, for my faith, I just want to read a scripture every night. It's like, okay, that's great. We didn't criticize that. We invited that. Then he wanted to do for family. He was like, I want to come in and I'm going to pick up my socks to help my family. It was just simple things like that, and not to knock that. And then it eventually grew and grew and grew. And when they met some of those goals, and some of those they carry over because you have to get it as part of your rhythms and your DNA in order for it to really take effect. And I will say this last thing is our son, the youngest, moved to another state in a relationship with a young lady. And as they are talking about moving forward in their relationship, we fly to California to see them. And on the board, the dry eraser board, I'm going to get tears in my eyes right now, is faith, family, finance, fitness, future, and fun. What is our mission? What do we want to do together? How are we going to get there? And each one of them had what they were doing. And they started meeting. So when you see planting that seed and being consistent, creating those rhythms, when you see it manifest itself in as an adult, and then they're passing it on to someone else, that makes my heart dance. And know that the work that we're doing, it adds value, and it add not only values to our family, but it adds values to the community because she now shares that with her parents. And so I just wanted to share that. It's there is power in having a vision and mission. It aligns your purpose, knows your why, and everyone has a seat at the table, no matter how young or how old.
Amen. Gosh, love that.
I know we could spend all day doing this. To honor our listeners right now, the great thing is like we get to continue this conversation, and we're actually having you come out to LVfirst in a few weeks on November 19th. For our Parent Connect event. We're going to be having an evening 2-hour workshop with you guys, all about parenting and unity. 5:30 to 7:30. It's going to be a great time. We will definitely put the link to that and more information in our show notes. Or if you're listening, we encourage you to go to lvfirst.org/parents to learn more about this experience. But I guess I'd love to ask you guys, like, what could our listeners, especially if they're interested in participating in this workshop, what could they expect as they come to spend time with us?
Well, for 2 hours, they get to be with us.
Which I can say, like, sounds fun.
It sounds a lot of fun. But we will dive into vision and mission and how important that is and help them draft out what a vision could look like for their family and what that mission could be about in there. So they can walk away with a template of what it looks like. Because every family is different. The dynamics are different. But what have you been called into? What does that look like for you and your family? So we will help people craft that out from a vision and mission standpoint.
Yes. I love that they're going to be working together, and then not just with each other, but as a community. You'll hear that. And it's very immersive. It's you get the tactical information, but you do the work there. And it's you'll see it living and breathing.
I always love that experience when I know I'm going to walk into a workshop and I'm going to hear like the ideas and sort of like the existential stuff, but we're going to like do some stuff too. Like I'm going to leave with like a tangible thing that I can like then continue on. And just thinking about that, you guys are offering something really exciting for our workshop participants. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, for everyone that registers and shows up.
That's important. That's important.
You got to be there.
So Carlos and I have set aside some time for 30 minutes to just do a one-on-one with you all to walk through your vision mission, just to really help see if you have any specific questions, even more beyond the workshop. So we're offering that free to anyone who registers and shows up and wants more.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I need some coaching. I think that's important.
Get some like free office hours.
I like this.
So you're going to have this opportunity to sort of like be in community, create a draft, and then in this 30 minutes, get in like the nitty gritty, right? Like get really specific about those things. Thank you guys so much for being willing to offer that. It's so generous. So kind of you.
It is our pleasure.
Guys, I'm speaking for myself, but I imagine like everyone else feels it. Like this has been an amazing conversation. I'm so looking forward to having you guys out here on November 19th. Just talk about this parenting unity. I know the conversation is going to be so rich for those who are there. In the meantime, though, if people want to learn a little bit more about who you are, or maybe on socials or a website, like just to kind of like maybe do their own research, where can they find you?
They can find us at powercouplesrock.com, and we are on all social media platforms at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right.
Every Tuesday we do popcorn conversations. But
Pop your own popcorn, though.
Bring your popcorn, where we dig into real life questions and issues that families maybe are facing. But you can go to, and that's at powercouplesrock.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you all. We have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation as well.
Yes.
Y'all be blessed.